Isaiah chapter 60, verse 22. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in its time. I want to give all praises and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar, Kodash, forgive me the spirit, to do this lesson. In this lesson, I'm going into the Israelite seed will multiply as the stars of heaven. Okay? The Israelite seed will multiply as the stars of heaven. All right? And when you think about that in the spirit, that is huge for us. That is huge for the Lord's name. Okay? For him to do that and bring that to pass. All right? Now let's go back to Isaiah chapter 60, verse 22. Let's read it again. A little one shall become 1,000. Right? And that little one is one man. Okay? One man shall become 1,000. All right? And a small one, a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in its time. Right? And when you hasten something, you do it quickly. Okay? You bring it forth quickly. Just like the Passover. You're supposed to eat in haste. Okay? So you're doing it quickly. All right? Now, this account right here goes back to what? It goes back to prophecy. Okay? This scripture goes back to prophecy. All right? Now, when you get that account, let's get it in Genesis chapter 22. I'll read verse 17 and I'll back up and go back to it. Verse 17 in Genesis chapter 22. It says that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. Okay, that's a lot of seed, man. Those are a lot of seeds. Okay, that's no joke. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. So who is the Lord talking to in this account? Abraham. Now, why did Yahweh give Abraham this promise that our seed will become strong and multiply like that? Let's go back up and let's start at up to verse 1. Okay, and I'll read through it. Verse 1, it says, and it came to pass after these things that Yahweh did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, thy only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and give thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, which I will tell thee of. Okay, verse 3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took two of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which Yahweh had told him. Then on the third day Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young man, abide you here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spoke unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, my son, Yahweh will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. So right now I'm reading the account, the process, okay, of why Yahweh blessed Abraham and told him that, hey, I will multiply your seed. I'm going to multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, as the sands of the sea. Okay, I'll continue in a second. Let's go back to Isaiah 60. All right, verse 22. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. So when you read this scripture, okay, spiritually, you're supposed to think back to the account that I'm reading, okay, in Genesis chapter 22. Okay, because that's why. All right. Let's go back to verse 9 in Genesis chapter 22. Verse 9, it says, and they came to the place which Yahweh had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. Okay, that is obedience at the highest level. That is trust at the highest level. Think about that. Okay, for Abraham to do that, he trusted the Lord and he believed in the Lord. Okay, and he also knew and understood that the Lord could raise his son back up. Okay, so he was down, man. All right, so that gives you more indication why that promise happened like that. Verse 11, it says, and the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here am I. And he said, lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest Yahweh. Ooh, do you hear that? See, I talk about fearing the Lord on this channel a lot. Okay, Lord willing, I can do it even more. All right. But right here proves what? The Lord is trying to see if you fear him. Okay, we're supposed to learn from this. You're supposed to take that out of the scripture. Okay, let's read that again. For now I know that thou fearest Yahweh. That's what it's all about. Hear the conclusion of the whole matter. All right. It says, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son from me. Okay, so that also lets you know the things you love the most in this world, man. If you give it up for the Lord, man, that's big to the Lord. That's a big deal. Okay. And it doesn't mean you have to give it up. Maybe you just put it in the proper order. Okay. You take care of your spiritual business, then you deal with that or this or whatever it may be. Okay. I want to point that out. Let's go to verse 13. It says, and Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in the thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place Yahweh, as it was said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, by myself I have sworn, saith the Lord Yahweh, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, that in blessing I will bless thee. Now it comes to verse 17. That's why he did it right there. Okay. So you was willing to give up your only son. All right. Because of that, I'm going to multiply your seed as the stars of heaven. Okay. Talk about a lot of sons, man. Millions. Okay. On top of millions. I'll put it that way. Back at verse 17, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. Right. Okay. You see that? So that's why right there, when you go back to Isaiah 60, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one, a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. Okay. Now, there's a quick point before I wrap up I want to make. The second half of Isaiah 60, verse 22, I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. We know that hasten means he's going to do it quickly in that time. And there's another reason why also, okay? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 24. Let's start at verse 1. I'm going to put some extra understanding on the times, okay? Because when all hell break loose and the earth is moving back and forth, okay, and many are dead, all right? A lot of Jakes are going to die during that judgment. The Lord is going to hasten us back on earth, okay, very fast. Let's go to Isaiah 24, start at verse 1. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty and make it waste, okay, the waster to destroy by those nuclear missiles, all right? and turneth it upside down, and scatter abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly empty. Okay, utterly empty and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languish and fade away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. Right, man. The haughty people, the proud people. Okay, the judgment is coming, man. Verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burnt. You hear that? Are burnt, and few men left. Right. Okay, so a lot of people are going to die in this judgment, including our people. 2/3 are going to be destroyed. Okay, a lot of women are going to die of our people, man. Okay, because you're very proud, man. Very, very proud and evil. Okay, and there's a lot of women on the earth of our people, let alone everybody else. Okay, so a lot of our people are going to die. They're going to taste a horrible death in this judgment that's coming. Okay, so when we come back down, the elect who get saved, the 1/3, the 144,000 that get saved, when we come back down, it's time for us to repopulate. Okay, so that's another reason you could think about that. You could say that he's going to hasten it. All right, fast. Okay, but that hasten is going to make it a lot, I mean, huge in number, as the sands of the sea, as the stars of heaven. Okay, so there you go. And that shit, that's close, man. Like, we're very close to this, and that's exciting to think about, that we're going to have all these babies popping out. All these women going to be pregnant of our women. A lot, man. You talking about popping out babies, man, left and right. Okay, and that one man, he ain't going to do that with one woman. Let me make that clear before I go. That one man is not going to do that with one woman, man. Okay, all you Israelite women, get that out of your head. Okay, while you sitting there trying to look through your man's phone, trying to figure out where he went, what women he talking to, what nation is she? Is she an Israelite? Is she a heathen? It ain't none of your business. How about that? Okay, because clearly one man is going to have a lot of women. Okay, and they're all going to get pregnant. Period. You just better hope you're the top woman. How about that? You focus on being the top woman. Serve that man. Okay? So with that, I hope you're edified. I want to give all praises and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash, forgive me the spirit, to do this lesson. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to Yaakam that is doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.